We're going to call to order the August 27th, 2019 meeting of the Board of Managers for the LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Can we have the roll call, please?
Tim Anderson.
Here.
Kitty Kate. Here. Pat Harris.
Here.
Adam Konechny.
Here.
Sue Mollenar. Here. Mike Seitz. Ron Schaefer.
Here.
Doug Waters.
Here.
Martha King is here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. We'll proceed. Are there any public comments or announcements? Hearing none, we'll ask for a motion to approve our minutes from our July meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Schaefer, a second by Mr. Waters. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Before I begin my report today, I just want to make a couple comments about the boat race. I know there's going to be a report on everything, just right up front to get this meeting in a good mood and have us all on a positive track. Outstanding. I have nothing but good feelings about the whole event from start to finish. The addition of the events that was held there, it was great. So kudos to staff, Linda, Jack, you guys are awesome. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we might just give them a look. Awesome, very proud. The Fairgrounds Management and Events Corporation is continuing to meet. We're making progress. It's slow. There's some intricacies we're trying to work out with the Fair Board in the agreement that we're making with them for occupancy at the fairgrounds during the fair and also around the fair other times of the year when they need to use the buildings for various things that they're doing there. So there's some things we're working out in the agreement. We got the three attorneys working together now to fine-tune that and get that in place. And really there's a lot of things that have to be held up until that agreement is in place so that there's nothing, that we're not in violation of anything. So making some progress, but it's slow. I don't know if any of you have any questions about what's going on with the organization at this time. We're hopeful very soon to bring in a business manager to oversee the operations of the fairgrounds with a very, very strong marketing and events planning background. But because we do have some people there now that can assist with facilities and doing the things we need on the grounds to keep maintenance in place and so forth. But just the business manager side of it, we're hopeful that we can do that within the next few months and get that on its way. So with that, we'll move right to our treasurer's report. Mike's not here.
Under Nelson. Under yours.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Mr. Picardo from our legal side is here today, and he's going to go over some things with us we need to be updated on.
Sure. Good morning. Thank you.
Sorry.
The first thing I'm going to talk about, and really the only thing, is the confidential agreement that was approved at the last board meeting. Just wanted to give a quick update, make sure that everyone's aware of what it is, and answer any questions that you may have about it. The confidentiality agreement is between our entity and the treasurer's office, and as you all know, the law was changed regarding the innkeeper's tax and confidential information that can be shared between the two entities. Previously, we weren't able to get a whole lot of that information, and that would become a problem with collection and things like that. When the law changed, we needed some type of an agreement between the two parties in order to be able to exchange that information, but in a confidential manner. So that's what this document does. It outlines who it is that can receive the information, what information it is that we're receiving, and the template that we used was straight from State Board of Accounts, and we're glad that the Treasurer's Office complied and signed it, and now we can share the information and be more effective and efficient in how we collect the information regarding the innkeeper's tax. Does anybody have any questions about it?
When was it signed?
Last meeting.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you're so okay, if I'll update everybody, if you recall, Nelson wasn't at our last meeting, and we had a real a time sensitive, we had to get moving on to get it signed. And so we asked you all to sign it, then Nelson was gonna send you an email update, just his version of why we were walking into this, and he decided to do it in person today, since it was already signed, but we approved it, and the treasurer's office signed it, and we've already implemented the procedures, and I'll give under my report, but it's working really well.
Well, that's what I was asking, when did the treasurer sign it?
The date on there, it's been about a month.
Yeah, it was July 19th, July 18th.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Our treasurer is not here today, but I'm going to ask Jack or Gail
Gail's
to give us a review of our financials.
You all should have received your statement of financial positions to review, and if there are any questions, certainly bring them forward. We have total accounts payable of $114,492.63, and total payroll during July of $39,126.88, for a grand total of $153,619.51. So those will be the claims that you signed in approval of as I pass this around. And unless you all have any other questions about the financials, do that now.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the financials that we have in our packet?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion by Mrs. Molnauer, a second by Mrs. Kate. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, Mike is not here for legislative committee update, but how about our branding teams?
Branding team, actually we'll have our next meeting the first Monday in September. At our last meeting, we just did a review, the citywide guide that I think I handed or passed around at the last meeting is at the printer, so we should have that probably in the next couple of weeks. And this is just for Michigan City, but the CVB will also assist with the distribution of getting the guide distributed. This is really nice. A lot of times with conferences, whether at Blue Chip or groups that come in, they usually ask for a dining guide for restaurants in Michigan City. And so this will feature that, plus several shopping and so on. It was nicely put together. It's a map that's also, it kind of identifies the different location. And they went as far as from the north end all the way to Highway 20 south, but they did include Patrick's Grill in there as well. So we're really excited to have this so that we can implement it as well when we have requests. And I think it's gonna be really nice. 6 months, we'll look at it again because then, businesses come and go when we want to keep it updated. So this is going to be put out by the Michigan City branding team. And NITDC, Amy's going to have a big report when we get around to her. We have a lot of things going on right now. So I'll let her kind of take care of that when it gets.
Yeah, we got her kind of combined
Yeah,
into a
right.
couple, so we'll
Right.
jump her
Okay.
out later. Yeah.
All right. Okay, LaPorte downtown events.
Sure. We'll start with the Civic. Our next big event is going to be September 7th, Hoosier Star with the LaPorte County Symphony. Tickets are on sale actually here at the LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau, also at the LaPorte Civic Auditorium, as well as online through the LaPorte County Symphony. One of our biggest events of the year, that and the Healthcare Foundation Holiday at the Pops are two of our big events, and we're always excited to host this. My understanding is tables are already sold out. There still are balcony seats available. Those not familiar with it, it's kind of a stripped down version of American Idol, I would say. You have 5 adult contestants,
We do.
5 youth contestants, and it's always a great time. This LaPorte County Symphony is outstanding. One of the things I loved about when I became the director of the Civic Auditorium is I'd never heard them before, and to me, I'm absolutely amazed that we have that kind of, not that we have that kind of musical talent, but they're actually like together as a group inside our county. It's absolutely astounding what they can do. One of the great things about their search right now for a new conductor, Phil Bauman had stepped down a year ago, is they have these guest conductors that are coming in on a trial basis for each individual event, and so that's always exciting to see a new player and what they can get out of. It's kind of like having a new coach all of a sudden for one game. You know, you get a different feel for everything they do, and I think people get refreshed because they get a different viewpoint and a different context, and it's a short time period, so you don't have that hangover effect afterwards. So it's going to be a great time. Like I said, balcony tickets are still available. Strongly suggest everyone comes out, and a follow-up for the Civic too, during the Colton Dixon concert that was there July 21st, we had some lighting issues. Basically our stage lights and our spots all went down. Rick can probably vouch for this in a little theater when that happens, everybody scrambles. The charm of a building built in 1929, it's great, it's historical, it looks wonderful. The downside is the stage lights, the housing unit for them was the original from 1929. You know, electric's come a long way since 1929. So to put things in perspective, we just took down 40,000 watts of lighting, and we replaced it with about 2,000 watts of LED lighting. So, A, our NIPSCO bill is going to go down every time we have an event, and B, it's a much better show to put on. Future events, we're hoping, or future project for us this year is the lighting. Costs us about $30,000, but luckily we have enough in capital from our non-reverting account that we think we're going to be able to upgrade the sound system hopefully this year too. So we're going to try to get that building at least into the year 2000, if not, not a little later. But the speakers we have currently hung up to, just to put things in perspective from everyone, are from 1967. So music's come a long way too in the last 50 years.
Are you kidding?
But we're excited to be moving things along, and we're happy that the Bureau's been part of that process, and we're very happy to see things going forward.
Great.
My turn. Angela Rose, for those of you who don't remember my name, the downtown director for LaPorte. So we have a few things coming up in the next month and a half that I wanted to bring to your attention. So the first one that we have coming up is the Sunflower Fair that we have every year over on Michigan Avenue. It's going to be September 21st. It's the 21st annual. We have the 5K, Scarecrow Festival thing going on where you can build your own, the kids can get involved. Sunflower contest, coloring contest, antique cars, you name it, we'll pretty much have it there. We'll also have Buick's corn stand there. They'll be selling their corn, which is always a crowd pleaser at the fairs. So we have that, and then the next week after that we have a Togetherhood project. This is a YMCA initiative. LEAP and the YMCA partnered together to put this together, and basically it's a community-led initiative. It's a 2-day thing that we're going to have downtown to help clean up and promote social social responsibility within our downtown. So part of this would be touching up the paint on the benches, things like that, that will create that visual cue that we're investing in downtown and help create a destination for people visiting. We've had 3 different shops open up in the last month and a half, which is really great. They're doing wonderfully, I was told, well above what they expected to be doing. So this is just us trying to give back to the business owners and show them that we want them there and we care about our downtown. So another part of that is I presented a grant to Okra during the Main Street Conference that was in South Bend. And we won, so we got a $5,000 grant for this project. And part of this is going to be signage that points you to the different destinations in downtown. So businesses were asked to fill out an application, give me their logo, and they would be featured on information kiosks downtown. So it'll be a nice ornamental pole with a sign with your logo and an arrow saying 2-minute walk this way, 3-minute walk that way, that sort of thing. It promotes walkability, which with our county being one of the most unhealthy in Indiana, it's something that's really important to us as a community. I also presented expanding this since we currently have one pole. I had so many people interested in being featured that we asked the UEA to fund multiple poles, so they approved me for another 5. So right now I'm trying to figure out where they're going to be located, who's going to be on which information kiosk, and how all that's going to be coordinated. So that's about almost an $8,000 grant that I got from the UEA for that project to kind of complement the Together project that we're
How much
working
is
on.
the cost of a pole?
$1,800, or if you do 5, it's discounted, and that includes installation. And you can get like ornamental top you can design. So right now it says information with the arrow pointing down, but you can do it with your city logo. You can design something that says like downtown LaPorte, eat, drink, shop here, or something like that. So that's really nice. US Sign Crafters is who we went with, because they did the original pole. That way it's all consistent. But where I was getting at, so September 27th and 28th is when the Togetherhood is. We have received a sponsorship from American Rental for $1,000, so we're doing a truck presentation on Friday. And then also a $500 sponsorship from First Source Bank. And so we're rolling on that. If anybody's interested in signing up or signing your company up or volunteering somebody to do it, they can sign up, go on Downtown LaPorte's Facebook page, and it's a event on there. You can follow the link, sign up, you get a free t-shirt. And then there's also stuff for the kids. So if you have kids, grandkids, we have these rocks that you can decorate and write positive things for the community to see on them. And that's an interesting way to get the younger aged kids involved in our community as well. So the library's going to experience that. And then we have Made in LaPorte County coming up October 4th. It's going to be 9 to 3 over in the old Whirlpool building over in LaPorte. We always ask children, well, to me they're children, kids and young adults, middle school and up, they can come and see all the different manufacturing companies that we have in LaPorte, kind of explore different career options, because 4-year college isn't for everybody. So it's good to know the different assets that we have in our community. And then the last thing is we have a candidates forum coming up October 24th. It's going to be 6 to 7 is the discussions, and then 7 to 7:30 you can meet the candidates, and it's going to be at the LaPorte High School Performing Arts Center. So that should be a great event. Gets everybody acquainted with the different candidates, people running for offices, that sort of thing. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask. That's all I got. Sorry. That was a lot. Thanks for sticking
Yeah, we
with
did
me.
as long as we say, and that's all. Thank you. Okay, we don't have Angela here or anyone else from Blue Chip today. So we'll go right into unfinished business. Any new business? Well, that brings us to our Executive Director's report, Mr. Arnett.
Thanks, Pat. Angela kind of shortchanged the report on this, on the grant, or shortchanged the recognition she should get. First of all, we got really short notice on that, and she was able to pull together that grant process against some really stiff competition and come back with the money, and that's awesome. That was great. I didn't think there was a chance. It was just, let's try it, let's jump in here and then see, and she was able to pull that through and get some really good competition. It's always tough to get grant dollars, and anytime you can, should be recognized. So that was a great job. Yeah, we do have a lot of stuff to share with you today between the stuff that you've already heard, and as Pat pointed out, we closed out the race. Couldn't be happier with my end of it was the weather. You all knew that, and I got that right. And the rest of it just kind of fell in place there. But I guess just from my report, Rick's going to go in a little more detail, but I can just say we couldn't be happier with the decision from the board letting us move forward with OPA, the new group that we have. They delivered. In the past, we've had 22 race teams, 24, 26. We've had as high as maybe 30 one year. We had just under 70 race teams here this year. A couple of them didn't end up racing. We had 64, 66 of them, I think, hit the water. And it's going to get better next year. There were some, with a new group and that many race teams, there were some logistical issues. The course wasn't quite set up right, and there was a few things that we can easily fix. We know we're going to expound on the aquacross, the jet skis. That, in my mind, got shortchanged a little bit in this whole process. We wanted to see more of that. But the residual of the race, there's some things that you guys need to know. Let's stay with the jet skis for a little bit. The owner of P1 Aquacross was here from London and spent the weekend with us. And he made a couple really strong commitments to our community. One, he has given us a verbal commitment to bring a series to LaPorte. It'll probably be an amateur series, which is fine. Getting them there is going to be a big deal. He's given us a verbal on that. We got a lot of work to do on where, when. We got Brett and a few others going to head up the committee to kind of, and Rick, to follow through on that. But they made a commitment that they will do that, and so we're working with some other folks from LEAP and other community folks in LaPorte to make sure that we maximize that effort, whatever that is, tie it in with another, use it as an anchor for events or whatever. But the other commitment that they made to our community was to, right now they've got, they being Aquacross P1, which brings with it Fox Sports. They even have, in all their series, they have the World Poker Tour that follows them at every venue that they have now. They bring that kind of things to the table. They've committed to they've got a hub in California. Now they've got a hub on the East Coast. They've got a hub in Florida. They've committed to making LaPorte County their hub for the Midwest. Now, I don't know how to define hub. I mean, we're working with them on that, but we're talking a physical structure with staffing as their hub for the Midwest. And those are the kind of things that happen because that you can't put in. When we look at the line item, when you guys see the line item at the end of this year, and say, "Gee, many Christmas! Look at all the money we spent on that race." Now, keep this in mind. This is exactly the kind of stuff that you got to gauge that by. The economic impact is going to be huge. There's no doubt, but these are things that are not even included in the economic impact. So that's a big deal. Another residual.
And just to expand on that a little bit. When you're talking about tourism and economic development, this is the best tool that I can think of for economic development, and that's an example. If they had not come here for that visit, for the event,
Okay, that's correct.
we're creating jobs.
And it goes back to the recommendation from Rick back a year ago when him and I huddled and rolled the dice and came to you all and said, "Hey, we're going to change. Go with somebody else," and then this guy's got it together, and he brings all the race teams, they bring the Aquacross, and bingo, look what happened. Another really big win we got out of this, you probably all know that Billy Moff from Where's the Money, WHM, and that's literally his name, and that's where the money is. But he committed a couple years ago to give us $10,000 for our zoo. I think we've talked about that. When he got here, he ended up writing a check for $20,000. And that we did a presentation during the event for $20,000. So I mean that speaks for itself right there. And then during the award ceremony, Billy got up to and he won his heat, and he got a $4,000 purse for winning the heat. He turned around and signed it over to the zoo. One of the other race teams who came in third or fourth in one of the smaller classes got a $500 check, and they said, "Well, we're not going to let Billy outdo us," so they signed their check over. So I think Gail just put together a deposit of $4,500 that above and beyond that we're going to take to the zoo on those two checks. So those are things that again come out of the dollars that we spend over here in this race. And we are going to get the numbers any day. I was really hoping to have them for you today, but that process is a tough process, as you know. Pulling together, because we've got miles of beach and viewers. We had way more viewers on the water, for example, this time than we did. The estimate I saw, there's going to be like 600 folks watch the race. Don't sound like a lot, but 600 folks watched the race from the water, from boat viewing this year, that we had never been able to count before, because there wasn't enough. It was negligible. It wasn't that much, but they got just boat viewers alone. But given the expanded race days, making Saturday a race day and everything, there's no doubt the numbers are out of sight. It's going to be a great year, and then you factor in all these other things. And I'm going to let Rick talk about the race before I continue with some other areas, Pat. But let's see. I wanted to say one more thing on rail today. We're pulling together after this meeting a meeting with our partners in the community to do a debriefing. We've already done one with the infrastructure folks and with Blue Chip, and now we're going to do one with 40 or 50 community partners that help pull things together and get input for next year so we can improve and do things better. And we already have earmarked some changes. We've had a couple staff meetings since the race that we've identified a couple things that we see that we want to change. I can tell you all that we will for sure finally expand the VIP stuff. That's been the hottest ticket in town for years. We've needed to address that in the past, because it literally gets like those things are handed down in wills now almost. It's like a cup ticket or something, and we get a lot of pressure, from everybody about that, and we've had to cut off sales in the past because we didn't have room. So we said, look, that's enough. Let's address this. And the other thing was Cocoa Beach, Sarasota, Fort Myers. The producers of those races are equivalent. We're all here. One, because they heard about how we do things, and they wanted to come and watch what we were doing. But one of the suggestions that they made to me was that we're missing the boat on income on the VIP sales. And they evidently, those sites, not evidently, we've talked to them a lot, they've maximized that a lot better than us. So we're going to figure out how to do that too, and that's just one of the areas. So Rick, why don't you just give a little summary on the race?
Yeah,
You can do it.
so I guess, I couldn't be more thrilled with the way it turned out. Good weather makes everybody in a good mood, and as long as we all stay in our lane and do our job, it's going to be a great event, and it turned out to be that way. But I think one thing that I want to say mostly is I'm excited about all the venues, how we've pulled together. Me going out of town and learning and meeting these other promoters, and then to watch them come here. We're all sharing ideas, and quite frankly, the week after the race, my phone was being blown up by some of these promoters saying how much fun they have in Michigan City. They're taking away some stuff that we do. And this is a community effort. It's not just a couple of people. It's not staff. We've got 50 people involved in our infrastructure that those guys don't have. So our community is amazing, and we've raised the bar to an international level, and we're just getting started. The numbers this year are going to be big, but next year it's going to be way bigger. So I just thank everybody for their efforts.
Great job.
Yeah, we could talk all day on that, but it's been a great deal. And
You had a question?
Yeah, I have one comment that I want to share with the board. I think aside from all of the economics and how great it's been, another aspect that we added this year that has never been done before was a charitable side of it. With the golf tournament, quite a bit of money was raised for Reigns of Life here in town. So no one made that comment, but that's something that's never been done before. And that was a nice addition to something that's already growing. So again, like Jack said, kudos to the board for allowing them to find avenues to make this bigger, because it's not only about the money and about the jobs that are being made, but also there's a charity aspect too.
and the reason we haven't updated yet, we haven't finalized all that, but without completely messing this up, Gail, I think we got about $2,000 that we're going to be able to make the fight. $4,000. Oh no, I'm thinking.
From the golf house.
Yeah, what was the
Two
from the
around
silent auction? Yeah, So two different, and the Range of Life gets the $4 from the golf outing, and the $2,000 goes to get this acronym right. It's the police support. Yeah, EMA. Yeah, EMA. Yeah, Emergency Management Association, which are the volunteers that go run around the yellow vests that help with the traffic control and all that. We've used them. They've been the recipients 3 years in a row now, and they've been able to purchase a ton of equipment, radios and stuff, by the money we've given them. So it's been really glad you brought that up. We'll give you a full report next month on what those dollars are. We're just not quite done with that, yeah. We did the golf outing in year 1, and I think if I recall right, in year 2, and we had a bad weather day, and we just, because of the extra work and everything, we walked away from that. We had a little bad taste that first year, but worked out good this year, so that's great. If it's okay, then I'll move on to a couple other things.
I kind of like all this good stuff.
Yeah, it's all good anyway. And that's the thing about this job, you get to be a cheerleader for the community and report a lot of good stuff, and that's pretty good. We have you've all heard us talk about vibrant communities. That initiative is being chaired by Maggie Sparks and myself. And as you know, Maggie came to this board, it's been almost 2 years now, since 2 years in December. And the board agreed to, along with her board, to lead this effort for the county. And we couldn't be more excited about where this is going. We've got a steering committee put together, and we're having our first meeting at Patrick's Thursday for the steering committee. A couple of you are going to be, Pat, you don't know it yet, but you're chairing a committee for us, and we got your name floating around, and sorry, I was doing that. Yeah. And actually, we're going to be reaching out to a couple of this board and Maggie's board to help us with a couple committees there. We thought that would be appropriate, so we're excited to be part of that, and the CVB leading that effort in the county. And the company that we've hired, Planning Next, out of Columbus, Ohio, same company that drove everything that happened in downtown Valparaiso. They're the ones behind that whole effort from start to finish with Mayor Costas over there. The efforts that they put together and making it more vibrant. That's why it's called Vibrant Communities. Revitalizing that downtown Valparaiso. And all they've got a few amenities that we don't have with a college town and being able to get some of those extra liquor licenses, but we're going to be able to get to the same place as Valpo. I really believe that. And then Elkhart has done this, and that's where we got involved when the CVB helped partner over there. And so we're really excited. We're going to have been spending a lot of time on that, and I'm happy to see that come to fruition. Our regional group has had some interesting times in the last few years, and much like in LaPorte County 10 years ago when we had Lake County trying to take over here, and we all huddled and put our heads together and decided we were going to do things better to keep those kind of things from happening, and we did. We moved. We look where we're at now compared to where we were 11 years ago, 12 years ago when that hostile takeover was happening. So that's what happens in these things. You start doing things better. You do your job better. You get accredited, and you do a lot of stuff that you should do within the industry. Well, interestingly enough, it came around again. Lake County, same guy, same folks, started attacking our regional group and chipping off some of the counties and causing a lot of heartburn and going after our toll road contract in certain areas and causing all kinds of havoc in that arena. And we did the same thing. We circled the wagons. We brought in some great folks from each county, some really good minds who understand how to do things the right way. In LaPorte County, we've got Blue Chip was represented, Representative Dermody headed up one of our committees, Shaw Friedman. We got some of the great minds in the county together, and they served on our advisory board and helped get us to a spot where we're now presenting across northern Indiana. We start today in LaPorte County and tomorrow in Elkhart County with our partners in EDC and Chamber, and we're pulling together some efforts to for lack of a better way to present it, to get our fair share in northern Indiana. In other words, if there's an issue that's coming up and it's a legislative issue, we'll be able to pull together 29 legislators versus 2 or 3. I mean, that's the simple way to put it, and it's been done in the eastern part of the state. So we hired that company, our regional group, not LaPorte County, hired that company to come in, and again, Tom and Shaw helped orchestrate this, along with the Mike Gagel, who runs the South Bend Airport, and a couple other folks that are on our advisory team, some really sharp folks, put together a really nice plan. So we're presenting that the next few weeks across northern Indiana. So, and I'm going to have them come in eventually and talk to the board and give you the same update. But we wanted to give it to the outside folks first and make sure we didn't have any road mines out there, and then we'll come back to you guys soon with it and let you give you guys an update. So it's really a good project, and it happened for kind of the same way that we had to circle back here before because of the outside interference. So that's happening. Now, the last thing I have is I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and she's got 2 or 3 things she wants to update you on, some of it that comes under the marketing side. But as you all know, Nelson touched on the change in the law with regards to the confidentiality and the reporting of numbers back to us, which, by the way, has led us to already we're seeing increase in the innkeeper's tax already, and then we've caught some mistakes that were made in filing with regards to who's eligible for exemption. Thank you. I couldn't spell it out. There's a very limited exemption on innkeeper's tax, and so it's walked us down that path. It's really been a great process, and I think I told you all, because of the 2 main hotels that have been down, that our income has been down. There's no doubt about it, but we've closed the gap considerably. And interestingly enough, and we never know the rhyme or reason here, our gaming tax is up significantly. And we're waiting on the other shoe to drop in the last quarter and see if that levels out. Unfortunately, you just don't know. You can't predict that one. But right now, because the gaming tax is up and we've closed the gap on the innkeeper's tax, we're only down just a little bit for the year compared to where we were 3 or 4 months ago. And it's certainly a good job on the staff's part and everybody's part, but some of it is just the fact that the law, changes in the law, is going to help us. So to that end, Amy's going to explain there's going to be a new collection process that could cause a little bit of, I don't want to say confusion, but when you read our monthly income reports, they may be a little different because they may reflect a different point in time. So you want to explain that?
Yeah. So we told you guys earlier, a month or so ago, about the VRBO, Airbnb, the new law.
Explain that the acronyms to them so they get it a little bit.
Well, they're the third-party companies that everybody goes through as far as renting their properties and so on. So they are required by law now to collect the tax. They will collect the tax, they will still have to collect it and remit it by the 20th, just like everybody else. It doesn't go through VRBO or Airbnb or those types of companies, but they will be paying it to the state instead of our county. So then what's going to happen then is the first of each month, the state will then remit it to the county. So we're just not sure how it's going to play out. We're working with the treasurer's office. They've been wonderful in this whole process. But again, we're really not sure, are we going to get one check that reflects everybody that's not VRBO and Airbnb, and then another check, or are they going to be able to wait and combine it with one? Because I've been talking with them, and they're really not sure as far as their books how this is all going to play out. As far as is it going to be an electronic transfer, a check, when they'll receive it, so on. So we'll keep you guys updated. Again, we are working great together and just going to work through any process that we need to. So, but yeah, it might reflect a little differently on the books than the first check, or I will come in.
It will. The transition month for sure, at least, because we know there may be a month where you don't see any income, for example. The next month you see 2, those kind of, or you might. So it's going to be a little harder to read. So we're just giving you a heads up. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
please.
So then I have another report I wanted to give as far as NITDC. So I don't know if you guys remember Food Wars, our regional wars. We've had, let's see, Burger Wars, Pizza Wars, Taco Wars, Breakfast Wars. So this year, we're gonna have Beer Wars. I'm super excited about it though. Yeah, the breweries and brewery trails are really trending nationwide as far as the tourism sector. So we wanna really capitalize on that. So yeah, we're excited about it. NITDC is gonna run it. They're gonna host it on their website. And then we will, the CVBs and then all the breweries involved will, of course, be promoting it on their social channels. So watch for, Facebook and so on as far as how to vote, when to vote, that kind of thing. The breweries that we have that are involved are Burnham, Shoreline, Zorn, and Backroads. And the voting is going to be from September 26th through October 7th. You will only be able to vote once, though, because we did have kind of some things going on in the past with that. So one time to vote, but
I
not
can
everybody to vote.
I got caught.
I got a little crazy before, but and kind of the most exciting part of it, or we're excited about this piece of it. The Brewery Lodge is going to host a press and tasting event for all the breweries that are involved, and this is a regional effort. So there's going to be a lot of breweries there. So we met with them last week, NITDC and Zorn, and super excited about that effort. And again, the press will be there, so we're hoping to.
Yeah, we should have regional coverage from South Bend stations and all of that.
We get
It'd be a big deal.
TV and that kind of stuff. So, and of course our own.
Very good. Yeah.
And then the winners will be announced on October 7th. So again, we've always been so close. We've never won. We so want to win. Don't go back. We always talk about it. He's threatened to fire me before. So. Please, everybody.
So important. I know. It's a good one, still.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're asking a question about if you're voting on the brewery or the beer. Sorry, I didn't explain that. So each brewery will pick their best seasonal beer. So you'll technically be voting for, it's both. It's the beer.
It's both.
Yeah.
But it's the one who
They
owns
only
it.
have one
Yeah,
beer. So
So we better make sure we get them all, right?
Well, yeah, Jack.
That's what I'm thinking.
Sounds like a deal.
That look really great.
Can't wait for those
So anyway, that's it.
We don't lose easy either. She's right about this drafting. I'm tired of losing. I think that concludes me.
Okay. Okay, Mrs. Simmons, we have some marketing activity going on?
Yes, and first of all, just to add on with Amy's report about the Brew Wars, the other exciting part about this is the first time LaPorte County has hosted a kickoff. So at that meeting, while we were there with Dan and Robbie, they said, we're going to do it in LaPorte County this time and, get some additional media coverage, and obviously we're thrilled with it as well. So that's another kudo we added to that. We met with John and Chef John, and they're excited, so keeping in touch with them. But the other great thing, next month, our idea and information exchange will be at Brewery Lodge. So Jane's working with them as far as menu and what to expect and so on. So once again, another great opportunity to represent Brewery Lodge. Dan actually had come in town. Dan Barris from NITDC a little early. Actually hung out there for a while, so got a tour. So he was very impressed, and definitely he told John, I will be back. And but once again, at the I&I, I'm sure they'll do some tours, but if you haven't had a chance to go there and just look at what a gem we have here right in the county, this is your opportunity. Jane has sent out save the dates, and I'm sure she'll be sending out a couple more, so be sure to get that on your calendar. Just this time of year, obviously, we're working on starting visitor guide sales are starting up again for 2020. Amy will be soon on top of the calendar of events, which will start from January through June. We're also, as I went through a list of things as far as staff goes, when we talk about professional development, just wanted to let you know some of the things that are going on. Obviously, Amy is working on her CDME through Destinations International. I think her plan is to attend a course in Wisconsin sometime in November. Dale Cooper is now, I don't have the appropriate name, it's a year class, PNW.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's leadership Northwest Indiana.
Leadership Northwest Indiana at P&W over in Portage. And talking to her yesterday, part of this class is that she'll be working with the intern and then eventually bringing that intern here to the CVB to show them what we do and so on. So she's been really excited about that. And then Rick Wright, Sports Indiana, he's a member of that, so he represents us all over the state for that. And also with Gail, next month we have our September Indiana Tourism Association September meeting. It's going to be held in September, so Gail's going to have a chance to go. We also have a professional development piece in there. And then Chelsea Miller, who also is getting ready to start with Leadership LaPorte County. So we have a lot of our staff involved in training, development, and so on, which is so important, especially in today's world. And Dale also is a member of the meeting planners of Indiana and has had several opportunities to work with a couple of planners that had events here in some of our hotels and just work closely with them to be sure they had a smooth visit, and if there were any issues, they were calling her. So she's got some good connections with that as well. As hearing about Angela and the money she received, we're also for next year going to submit our visitor guide for this year, as well as the 2019 Great Lakes Grand Prix for the Indiana Tourism Awards that happen every year at the state conference. So hopefully, I thought we had a great guide this year. A lot of the visitor guides that are out don't do what we do. They don't have a sales. They just have someone that just takes it and moves around. Ours is very unique. And over the years, and watching some of the other CVBs that have won, I think ours is unique, and I think that's what makes us different. So we're looking forward to submitting that. And as usual, I think the first time they started these awards with Midwest Living, our Great Lakes Grand Prix won for the best festival event for, I believe it was 2016. So because of the great year we had and some of the changes, we're looking forward to submitting that and hoping that at that conference, which will be held in Harrison County, that we'll be able to pick up an award. Also, Angela mentioned Made in LaPorte County, which is October 4th. Another great part of this is it's going to be, I think, at the old Whirlpool building in LaPorte. It's kind of, LaPorte EDC is kind of running this one. We flip-flop each year between Michigan City and LaPorte. And this is a great opportunity, buses of students come in and have a chance to actually see what goes on, what manufacturers are here, and have a better understanding as far as if this is some direction you'd like to go, there's some assistance and so on with that. CVB will be represented with our booth, and so we're looking forward to that, and hopefully you'll all come out just to check everything out. A lot of great things happening, and I'm always impressed when you just walk around and look at some of the businesses that are right here in the county. As I mentioned before, we have Don Anderson coming next month. I think I put that in the notes from last month. So we're all set to start working on the marketing business plan as well as our 3-year strategic. And usually the 3-year strategic is where Don gets with Jack and I, and we just kind of go over what we had formulated for this year, and then update, make some changes, and then once that is finalized, then we move on and use that as our guide for the marketing and business plan. So got a lot going on, but it never stops here, you know, and once again, I agree with the kudos. Even though I'm part of the staff, I was thrilled and excited, especially with the new organization for the Great Lakes Grand Prix. And, you know, once again, thank you to the board, but our staff was awesome, and we all just pulled together and just made things work. And of course, with the race director, Rick Wright, did an awesome job. The benefit of him going to these races in Florida, etc., really paid off, and we're just looking for something bigger and better next year for 2020. That's
I'm
it.
sure one last thing I thought about it
Okay.
and stuff, but I got a call from Smitty, who is the president of OPA, probably the week after the race. and his phone was blowing up. And he told me flat out, he says, and this is the first time he's been to Michigan City, he says he's been all around the world, and he thinks that Michigan City is his best site.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And just on that note, we've also been awarded already the 2020 contract with OPA. And I guess Nelson will be working to make sure.
I'm reviewing that now, we'll have a recommendation for you all to accept it next month.
Okay, so we'll have
Should have it out in the mail to you a couple weeks ahead of the meeting so you can review it, but we gotta get Nelson's approval for. But I can tell you right now, I've reviewed it, and it looks great. We're happy with it. I'm gonna recommend it.
Very
Barring-
similar.
Eyes are dotted, T's are crossed. Great. Well, this is exciting, so you all should be proud of the organization that we're affiliated with because it is really awesome. I've been here for probably total 12, 13 years now, and I've just seen nothing but growth and development and just improvements all around. And it's not always pie in the sky, but it is always apple pie. So with that, do we have any other board comments?
I have a question for Jack. When you talked about the Jet Ski P1 event in LaPorte, will that take that away from the boat race here, or is it in addition to?
Oh, yeah, good question. It'll be, I would envision this a whole different time frame.
I
Yeah,
know it's
completely.
different times, but it's the event will still occur with the OPA races here.
Yeah, the one over here is the professional circuit. And the one that we're talking about to start with, LaPorte's the amateur circuit. Yes, completely different time frame.
Kind of similar to what we had there before, as far as the event's concerned.
I think it'll end up being a different time, to answer your question, or two different events.
Yes.
So, when Azim gets back here from Europe, he's the American contact for P1 and the aquacross, we're gonna talk about it. He actually approached me on this because I had brought it up to him in a different city, and it's gonna happen. Yeah.
And talking with some folks in LaPorte, they were envisioning using this either as the anchor or maybe tying it in with another event. So that'll kind of control the time frame if we go with another event that's happening. And there's no decisions been made on which lake either.
But even what I was saying, it's not going to take it away from
Correct.
this here. It'll just happen before or after.
Yes.
That's just the way it is.
That's exactly what it'll
He
be.
has to get here, we need to get to LaPorte, he needs to see the
Yeah,
venue
yeah.
over there, because he's not seen it. So once we get that, we'll go forward from there.
Good question.
Jack, one quick question. The new gaming laws in Indiana. Gaming goes live, I believe, September 5th for Sportsbook.
Good point. It's
Does that affect, I know Blue Chip closed, I believe, Vegas Baby, and is putting a Sportsbook in there that opens on September 5th.
It does, and they're going to do a full rollout on the 5th. We'll be able to do online gaming on that day, and they've actually, it's okay to announce this now, isn't it? You verified this?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because they went back and forth. I want to make sure, because Boyd Gaming is very careful how they put out some of this stuff, but it looks like they've got Brian Urlacher under contract now, and he'll be here to, and you should start seeing that on social media and some other places, to help with the kickoff, make the first bet. So we'll be able to do sports betting. And it is, Brett's right, it used to be what was Vegas Baby, which it was right next to the game. So that, they've had that boarded off for a month, and they're remodeling. I saw some pictures on social media last night, so they're starting to put those out of what it's gonna look like. We're not sure if there's gonna be separation, Brett, between the game and that room.
I heard it may leave it glass, but what I was, not concerned, what I was hoping is the CBB gonna be able to, I know we get gaming revenue. Is that gonna increase the pot? I mean, is there a possibility for more money coming in now through gaming?
Under the new formula, that will, in my opinion, Nelson or somebody might have to look at this, but absolutely, because it's on gaming revenue now, it's no longer on the turnstile. So that would, my interpretation would be gaming revenue. They don't break it down, slots,
I was just
table
curious
games,
if that would help us out.
sports betting. So very likely would fall under that. It's a real good question.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know, I can look into it and maybe
Yeah.
report
Yeah.
at the next board meeting.
yeah, that's a good question.
It is a good question.
But it's gaming revenue, so it would almost have to, but we'll see.
All right, good
Get
feedback.
that.
Yes, Gail?
I just wanted to mention that Brett Adversity is also attending leadership report conference.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, sorry,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I'm curious how many of you all may have gone to that at one time.
11.
Yeah.
Way back when it was like the second year it started.
That's a big deal
I need
for
to do a
us.
refresher.
Almost everybody here has been through that. It's a big deal for us to make sure all the staff in professional development in a lot of areas, but certainly the LaPorte County ones.
Right.
Are a big deal, so we make sure everybody does that. Thanks for bringing that up, yeah.
Any other board comments? Well, we're moving right along. The year's almost coming to an end. It's almost fall already. So with that, the next meeting will be September 24th, same time, same place. Y'all have a good month, and I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, so in favor? Any opposed? So moved.